Hello and welcome back to another episode of this week's watches, and as you can see we've got a very nice and very affordable selection for you this week. Now I do want to apologise because there was a fair few more watches than this and a lot of, well not a lot but a few heavier pieces as well, but you guys and girls are just taking them before I can even bring them to the website. So what I've tried to do with this selection you see here is actually keep the majority of them off Instagram for the most part, so at least come Saturday you have some watches that hit the website, because I have had a few people say, you know, it'd be nice to see them get to the website, and a couple of people don't use Instagram and everything like that, so I'm trying to cater the best I can without obviously just saying no to people wanting to buy watches, which wouldn't make any sense. And as always, I want to thank you for another incredible week. I say it every single week. I'm probably, or hopefully going to say it every single week going forward. You guys and girls are making this dream a reality for me. You know, we've come so far, and this year is already incredible, and if it keeps going the way it's going, we're going to smash all the goals I have in mind, and it's going to put us on track for a incredible 2022 as well, where hopefully it won't be just me. We may have another full-time person, so we'll see how all that goes. And as always, if you have a watch you would like to sell, the quickest and best way to do it is go to our website kibblewatches.co.uk. At the top it says sell, nice and simple. There is a form there to fill out, send it through, we get back to you usually within 24 to 48 hours, and that is pretty much the simplest way. If you have multiple watches and maybe a collection you want to sell, which we do get, the best thing to do is my WhatsApp. So my mobile number's in the description on the website. WhatsApp me a load of photos of all your watches and as much information as you can about each one, the age, the service history, and the reference. Those three things are usually the most important. How old is the watch, based on either the guarantee card or what you have estimated it to be? What is the reference of that watch? Does it come with box and papers, and any service history? That is the kind of gist of what I need to be able to price the watches. So hopefully that is explained nice and simple. And before we dive into the awesome watches on the table, let's have a look at what's on wrist. And it is a very cool Zenith El Primero. Actually one that's in the personal collection, and one I'm hoping is going to stay in the personal collection for as long as possible. It is a gorgeous blue dial El Primero Chronomaster. If someone wants a specific reference, you can ask me, and I can provide that for you. But a watch I'm seriously enjoying, I think looks absolutely stunning on my wrist, especially for the proportions and the size and the dial color and everything. I'll be very honest, it's quite illegible most of the time because it's all polished, so polished hands, polished indices, and you've got that glossy blue dial, so there's no contrast. So often in direct light you can't read the time, but you know what, I love the watch, I don't really care, so there you go. Now that all of that is out of the way, let's have a look at what is on table, and we're gonna have to start with the awesome Seiko Ninja. Starting with this super awesome Seiko, which has been nicknamed the Ninja Turtle, and you can see why, the all black stealth look with those gorgeous lume indices which actually glow. I mean, just look at that, that's daylight and it's just glowing. Really incredible, really great watch. I've actually owned it a couple of times, sold it a couple of times. Every time I get one in, I want to keep it, but unfortunately I just can't keep them all. And I mean, I end up going through a lot of Seiko Turtles each and every year, but this is a really great one. So this is the Prospex Ninja Turtle, and it's often called the Black Series. It's the SRPC 49K1, that's the specific reference, and these are getting incredibly hard to find, especially in good condition, with full box and paperwork and everything like that, because they were limited edition and they sold out pretty quickly. Inside here is the automatic Seiko 4R36, and this is from 2017. It does come with its box and papers. The guarantee card is unsigned, but you can date it via the year right there. Just a really great looking watch. It does come on its original rubber strap. It has been worn, it isn't brand new, but it is as good as new. There's not really a single mark on the watch at all. But the dial is super gorgeous, that sort of faux patina day date over there. Just a great looking watch. And for those of you who are looking at the dimensions getting all worried, don't, because the Seiko Turtle wears so well on the wrist. It's wide but it's super short and it just fits like a glove, so let's show it on wrist. So here we are on my 6 3/4 inch wrist, and you can see it covers the wrist, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't wear big, which is super surprising for a 45mm watch, which sounds absolutely insane. But then you hear 48mm lug to lug, it's shorter than the 50mm sweet spot I always go on about. Only 13mm thick and 22mm lugs, which help with the size, and it just wears super well, super comfortable on wrist, and just a really good looking watch for a very affordable price, in my opinion, for what you get. Now, are these going up in price? Yes. Has each one I've sold over the past few years gone up quite a bit? Yes. Is it going to continue that way? I mean, I think so. No one has a crystal ball, but if I was to put my money on a Seiko Turtle, it would actually be this one. So there you go. And from Seiko, let's come to what is probably one of the best and most affordable chronographs you can get. This awesome Hamilton. So a watch that is insane value for money, and we say it a fair bit because we do get a lot of watches in that are truly really good value, and this is definitely one of those. You can see it's an automatic chronograph with a rotating bezel, an inner rotating bezel, and an inner rotating disc as well. So when we undo these crowns, I don't know if I can capture this very well, but you can see right up there at the top that disc is moving. And when we undo the other one, the whole of that moves as well. Then you can set it like bang on again as well, of course. But a really stunning design, very useful for obviously navigating and traveling and all that kind of stuff. I was trying to get that bang on. There we go. I think we're spot on now. And you can see the crowns are on this side, and the actual crown for the watch is on this side. Everything's in reverse, so it's basically flipped around. So the bottom pusher is actually the one to initiate the chronograph, as you can see, and it stops and resets with the top one, so you have to get used to that a little bit. But a really cool watch, signed crowns, everything like that, sapphire crystal. It does come on its original Hamilton leather strap, and it has its box and paperwork as well. So this is, to be specific, the Hamilton Khaki Aviation X-Wind, and the reference is H776160, and inside here is the automatic Hamilton caliber H-21. Very reliable, very good movement. It's basically a modified ETA 7750. And it's from March 2017 with its full box and paperwork, as I said. You've got a partial exhibition caseback, which is nicely decorated as well. When you see the bridge right there, it's got the Hamilton logo and obviously all the references and everything on the back. Nicely done, but let's show it here on wrist because it isn't a small watch, but it still wears relatively well. And here we are on wrist, a really gorgeous watch, 44mm by 54.5mm lug to lug. As I said, not a small watch. Can I get away with it on my wrist? I think just about. Anything less than a 6 3/4 inch wrist, I think you might be struggling with it personally, but then it is personal preference on size of watch. 15.5mm thick and 22mm lugs. As I said, it comes paired on its original Hamilton strap, but there are endless options at 22mm. But a really great watch for a stupid deal when you go have a look at what this is and how the condition is pretty much as good as new, and you're just saving yourself a load of money on the watch on retail. So there you go. Now let's go to vintage with a beautiful Movada. If you know me, you know I love a good vintage watch, and Movada especially, along with Mido and a couple of other brands, but this is a really gorgeous, well executed 1960s Movada Transatlantic Subsea 50 no date, as it's known. You can see the dial is actually missing some of its text. Unfortunately, at some point something's happened to that dial and it has developed this patina damage, whatever you want to call it. I know people get very sensitive when you use certain words, so call it what you will. We've photographed it, macroed it, everything, so it's all transparent. You can see exactly what's going on that dial and make your mind up if you like it or you don't, and that's completely fine. But the reference to this one is 879, and inside here is a manually wound Movada caliber 290, a very reliable thin movement. It has remnants of its logo still on there, as you can see, but it has faded a fair bit from obviously wear. And you can see it comes with its beads of rice sort of folded link bracelet with its Movada signed clasp. This bracelet does only fit a 6 3/4 inch wrist, so my wrist size. If you need bigger, you will need a clasp extender or spare links, which unfortunately we cannot provide or source. But a really gorgeous case, really gorgeous design, and just overall a very nice watch, and super thin as well. So let's show it here on my wrist. And this is where this watch just comes to life. I mean, this is absolutely stunning on wrist. 35.5mm case by 43mm lug to lug, only 9mm thick, so it wears super thin, super low on the wrist, and especially with those curved lugs, and they curve nicely as well, both vertically down and obviously the way they curve in as well. Really nice. And You've got 19mm lug, so it's nice to have this original bracelet, because a 19mm bracelet would be pretty much impossible to find, but obviously 19mm straps, there are plenty of choices out there and some really good options. But a really gorgeous watch. The dial is either going to make it or break it for you. It's going to be one of those things where the dial is what sells it for you, or it's going to be the thing that makes you stay clear. It's okay, either one, but a great option for the person who loves this kind of thing. I've just realised we have a lot of Japanese watches on the table, obviously a few Seikos and Citizen, which we'll get onto, but let's have a look at this Smiths. Next up is a really cool Smiths Everest, and this is actually the Time Factors edition from 2017. The reference is the PRS-25, and this is the 40mm model, not the new 36, but a really, really cool design, very obviously reminiscent of the Rolex Explorer. Now, the reason Smiths and the Everest, that we've done the full history on the website, so go check that out for more details, but Smiths also went to the top of the summit along with the Rolex. The original Smiths that went to the top looked nothing like this, so I mean, they've obviously taken the inspiration from the Explorer line and used the fact that they also went to the top of Mount Everest to justify making the design, I guess. I don't know the exact reasons, but either way, it is an Explorer homage, if you will, with real history and heritage to the summit of Everest. So that is kind of cool. Screw down crown as well, which is nice. It really does wear and look like the 39mm Explorer, just a bit bigger and a bit beefier. You can see you've got the screw down case back right there as well, and inside here is the Automatic Miyota 9015, and this one is from May 2017 with its full box papers and spare links with its signed bracelet, which is actual screw links, so very well built, and a hell of a watch for not a lot of money, especially if you're looking for a nice and good Rolex Explorer homage, also with its own history and heritage, which is justified. So this is it. And here it is on wrist, a really well proportioned watch, still slightly bigger than the 39mm Rolex Explorer, being it is 40mm, but it wears very well. 50mm lug to lug, only 14mm thick and 22mm lugs. I feel like 20mm lugs would have brought it down just that little bit and made it a little bit easier to wear for most people, but I have a 6 3/4 inch wrist and I can comfortably wear this, and I suspect most of you out there could and will as well. Very interesting high dome crystal right there. As I said, screw down crown, which is nice. Just a hell of a lot of watch for not an awful lot of money. Now let's go to the other turtle on the table, this really nice blue turtle. Another Seiko turtle. I do like these, and this is a model I've, again, personally owned many times. I think I've owned most of the turtles, but this was one of my favorites, one I've owned multiple times and probably going to own multiple times again, to be honest. This is the Seiko Prospex Save the Ocean Great White Turtle. The reference is the SRPD 21K1, and this one is from April 2021 with its full box and papers. And inside here is the automatic Seiko 4R36. You can see you still got the sticker on the back there. This isn't an unworn watch, but it is very lightly worn by myself. I actually bought it new, enjoyed it for a couple of weeks, and then it just found its way in the bottom of the safe, as usual with watches with me, unfortunately. But as you can see, a really nice dial design, that's why it's called the Great White. You can see you've got the shark fin over there, and you've got the counterweight to the second hand also being a shark fin. Really well done. Day date over there, and the bezel is what really steals the show for me as well. It's almost like a record because it's got those lines going all the way around. Really nice texture. Just a really gorgeous watch. ISO certified, which the Prospex line are. It's original Seiko signed bracelet with all of its spare links. Hell of a watch, perfect for holidays and summer. That's what I found with this watch when I owned it previously. I wore it every time when the sun was out, whenever I went to the beach. This was probably on wrist, but let's show it on wrist and talk dimension. And here we go. Just like the other turtle, it wears so well despite being a big watch. You know, it does feel like a big watch, but it doesn't feel too big. You know, it feels very manageable. 45mm by 47.5mm lug to lug, 13mm thick and 22mm lugs. Really, really well done, very good proportions and very comfortable. So don't be afraid to try this if you have got a smaller wrist as well. And the final Seiko with this really cool white dial, it looks far more expensive than what it actually is. I think it's going to surprise a lot of you. Seiko, I'm super surprised I have not owned or had for sale at some point, because this is so much watch for the money. I'm super surprised. This is a Seiko Automatic, and the reference is SARY or SARI 055. And this one, as you can see, does come on its bracelet. It's from October 2017. It does come with its box and paperwork and import receipts, because I believe this is a Japanese domestic model. I could be wrong with that. But inside here is the Automatic 4R36A, and you can see you've got an exhibition case back showing that movement if you like that sort of thing. And the bracelet with its nice clasp. It does only have 2 micro adjusts and pretty big links, so it can be a little bit of a pain to try and get to size up perfectly. But the bracelet's really well done, sort of angular with those individual links you can see protruding up with the polish. So much watch and so well done for very, very good price. Seiko crown, which they don't even do on most of their watches with these signed crowns. You can see you've got the white dial as well. Automatic stayed down there. Day date, which is actually in Japanese and English, so you can choose which one you prefer. But really gorgeous. Let's show it on wrist. And here we go. Now, it isn't a small watch, but it wears super well and super comfortable. This is 41.5mm by 49mm lug to lug. Again, right under that 50mm lug to lug sweet spot. 11.5mm thick and 22mm lugs. Again, I wish it was 20mm. I feel like it just bring it down that ever so slight bit. But either way, it's super comfortable, super nice. And you know what? I would totally own this and wear it, but I can't because I have too many watches, but there you go. So go take this one off my hands and get it for yourself at a stupid deal. And last but definitely not least, a really gorgeous Citizen Railway Timer. And another vintage watch, and a really cool one at that, which surprises most people because of how jet white the dial is and how sort of yellowy green the lume is, but it is a very cool watch nonetheless. This is a 1972 Citizen Homer second setting railway issue. So the reason it's called the center setting is because the movement, as you can see, hacks, which was a big deal back in the day, and why this watch was a railway issue, because they would have used it to actually synchronize up to the clocks and be able to accurately time, you know, when the trains need to be leaving, which was super important and still is today. I mean, maybe they could do with that today, to be honest. That would get the trains around London a bit better, but there you go. You can see it's got its engraving, still visible right there, faded a little bit, but still pretty good. Really nice case, original crown as well, and nice dial. Now inside here is the manually wound Citizen Caliber 0911, and as I said, it's from 1972. The reference is 75008, and let's show it here on wrist. And here we go, super comfortable at 36mm by 44mm lug to lug, only 10mm thick and 18mm lugs. Very, very nicely done. I've paired it on this grey leather. I think it looks really cool, but to be honest, you've got endless options, especially with a white dial. You could really put any strap with it, and I think it would look good any colour you wanted. So go check this one out. See the closer details, see some of the macros, they look really cool, and pick yourself up a awesome vintage Citizen. So there you have it, guys and girls. That is this week's episode all done. Thank you very much for tuning in. I really do appreciate it. And again, you'll have to forgive the sort of lack of watches in this episode. Although it's still 7. I mean, I always try and aim somewhere above 5. So we've still got a lot of watches, but they are all very affordable, which actually I think most people watching this are going to be super excited about, and they're probably all going to go. So head over to the website, kibblewatches.co.uk, take a closer look. Send in your watches you have for sale. Keep safe, keep well, all that usual stuff, and we will see you all next week. Thank you and take care.